Hello healers and health seekers, it's me, Ichoda, healing with medical medium information for 4 years and 8 months now. What am I healing from? Mast cell activation disorder, dysautonomia, POTS, chronic fatigue syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypothyroid, PCOS, SIBO, migraines, acne, rosacea, eczema, PTSD, anxiety, depression, and so much more. So many symptoms and conditions. I go into my symptoms and conditions in the videos in the description box below. If you want to know more about my journey, the links to those videos are in the description box below. But today I want to make a video about, well, originally I thought it was going to be about my teeth, but it turns out that it's about a Victorycheck video about healing PTSD and my teeth in regards to my teeth, like healing dental PTSD. Oh my gosh. So the first part of this video I filmed a few months ago, and what happened was I filmed it when I was in kind of like not a good place. And when I filmed it the first time, the first part of the video, it cut off the last part of the video. So I never posted it because I was like, oh, I cut off the video. But I did save the files that I had. I saved them and I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then some stuff happened in between that filming and this filming. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to post this. I'm going to post it with a different ending. With a different, because when I filmed it the first time, I was like, what am I going to do? And now it's a Victorycheck. And so I'm really happy to be making this video. Without further ado, I will tell you the story. I guess today I want to talk about PTSD and anxiety and an experience I'm having currently. I don't usually make videos when I'm kind of in the middle of something, but I felt pulled to do this one because I thought maybe two reasons. I'm an external processor and I work things out by speaking about them and talking out loud. And also I thought, hey, maybe somebody else is going through this and could relate, and maybe it could even help. There's an ongoing something that I've been dealing with for a very long time. Way before medical medium information, way before. And it is something that started that long ago as well. And it's stuff with my teeth, but it's also stuff about dentists, like my own personal PTSD about dentists. And I want to preface this by saying that medical medium has already talked about how it works with teeth. He has talked about in 2 different past radio shows that he put out, and in the books he has talked about, in the celery juice book, in celery juice for teeth, he talks about that. But he has talked about how what is going on with our teeth now, like what we see manifesting now, started like over 6 years ago. Like it started a long time ago. And it's just one of those things that it just takes a long time to show up. And he hasn't really talked about if things can reverse or remineralize or things like that. But I suspect, given that how long it takes them to show up, that if something can remineralize, it probably would take a really long time. So if we go back on my timeline to what was going on 6, 8, 10 plus years ago, always high fat diets. Yep, definitely lots of caffeine. And okay, let's just veer off for a second here. Have you listened to the podcast that Medical Medium did on caffeine and matcha tea and chocolate? Oh my gosh, mind blowing what has been done and what caffeine actually does to the body. So if you think about like any time when you've consumed a lot of caffeine, and I think probably like a 99.9% of us have, you gotta think, okay,
I mean, that is just sucking the moisture and the minerals out of my body, and it's horrible. You know, a long time ago, I learned that caffeine could leach minerals out of your bones. Now, let's think about teeth. I bet originally probably that did come from medical medium, but that's not where I heard it first. But obviously that was even incomplete information, like the show he did about caffeine, matcha tea, coffee, and chocolate. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And see, I was always ranting about chocolate being a slave trade. It goes way beyond just that. It's like way worse even than that. So if you have not listened to that podcast, do it. Have a cup of tea with you. Have some kind of glucose mineral salts because it's intense.
And another thing I forgot to mention is apple cider vinegar. That is the teeth destroyer. Medical Medium did a podcast called Apple Cider Vinegar Teeth Dissolver. It is not good news. Drinking apple cider vinegar, which I did. Oh, so many things will destroy your teeth. Caffeine, which I did. So much, copious amounts of. Apple cider vinegar, high-fat diets, all of these things. And apple cider vinegar, it just eats away at the enamel on your teeth. And I am living proof because at the gum line of my teeth, it's destroyed. And because of that, both on the top and the bottom, there are a bunch of places where I have like decay or just like it's eroded away, and I need so many fillings. I need fillings. If any of you are drinking apple cider vinegar now, or eat it on your salads or anywhere, or any kind of vinegar, stop. Stop now. Save yourselves, because in like 6 to 10 years, your teeth are gonna pay the price. It's what happens. It's horrible. It's horrible. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Apple cider vinegar is terrible for your teeth, but definitely listen to the podcast because it's incredible. And the money behind apple cider vinegar, you would not, oh my gosh. Okay. So back to what I was talking about with the caffeine. So in my lifetime, I have consumed copious amounts of caffeine in all forms, in every form: coffee, matcha tea, chocolate, yerba mate, black tea, any kind of tea that has caffeine, all of them. I don't know, just so many. Mountain Dew, I don't even like this. Okay. In my teens and 20s, I lived on caffeine. I lived on it. Like, that's all I did. That's how I stayed awake for days, and it would be caffeine. That's how I do it. It was coffee. It was Mountain Dew. It was like the most caffeinated sodas. I don't know if any of you remember Jolt Cola. That would date me because that was back in the 90s, I want to say. Jolt and Nitro Cola. I had a group of friends who we were all about Nitro because it had like twice the caffeine. Jolt Cola also had like twice the caffeine, and we were all about like just caffeinating ourselves to the max. So we drank Nitro and Jolt, and oh my gosh, when I think about that, all the caffeine that we consumed anyway, and we lived on it. So that definitely contributed to what is happening to my teeth today. That and everything else, the high-fat diet and everything else. The last time I have seen a dentist was, I believe, 2009. I don't think I have seen one since, and I will tell you why. And that was in Canada. The dentist that I saw was a holistic dentist, and he advertised all these services on his website. He was IAOMT certified, which means like, oh, I know how to safely remove
amalgam fillings. That's why I went to him, because I had several amalgam fillings and I wanted them removed. And I thought that the safest way to do that was going to be to go to this AOMT certified dentist, because he's a holistic dentist. You know, he uses all the precautions. They do like a dental dam. They have really powerful air filters that, like, you know, supposedly suck the mercury vapor out of the air, etc., etc. So I thought this was like the safest and best way, and I thought I was doing the best thing for myself. Now, I want to say right here, in case you're thinking of doing something like that, or, you know, anyone who's watching this video, I want to say right here, Medical Medium has said, unless a mercury filling is cracked or broken in some way, leave it in. It's actually safer to leave it in than to have it extracted, because when you pull it out, even using the safest precautions, mercury jump in your body. That's not a good thing, obviously. But I didn't have Medical Medium information at that time. So I know now. And he's also said, just to be really clear on it, he's also said that if you do have them removed and you need to do more than one because they are cracked or broken, to try to do them like a month or two apart so that you give your body time, you know, to recover, and to you doing the heavy metal detox smoothie and the celery juice and all of the Medical Medium tools to support yourself and your healing and cleansing, to get that stuff out in between times so you don't have like such a big dump. But if they're not damaged, just leave them in. So I should have left them in, but I didn't. But I didn't know that. I didn't know. And so I'm not mad at myself or anything like that. It's one of those things like, had I known, but I didn't. So I did it. And, you know, not too long later, I got really sick. But anyway. So I went to that dentist and he did the amalgam removal, and that's not what traumatized me. But another thing that he did is he's, you know, said, oh, you need a cap, you need a cap. So I decided, and at that time I thought the best material to use, I was kind of waffling between like, oh, should I use porcelain or should I use gold? Because gold is like, I thought like was a safe metal. I think the answer is porcelain. Medical Medium has recommended porcelain, so like as the safest option. So I chose poorly. Again, not to get down on myself, just to say, had I known, and I didn't know. So at the time, I thought that gold was the safest option. So I got a gold cap on my teeth, and then I had gone to this dentist so many times, and I started to notice a pattern. Like every single time I was there, I would hear him talking to other patients, and every single time he would be like, oh, you need a cap, oh, you need a cap, oh, you need a cap. And it made me start to think that caps were not actually what people needed, but were a great way for him to put quick money into his pocket. Because how does every single patient need caps? How did we all need caps? So I'm not entirely sure that anybody needed a cap, because he told me also that there was a hairline fracture. He said there's this crack in your tooth, this hairline crack, not fracture. There's this hairline crack in your tooth. He said there was on the other side too. Well, I got a cap on one side and I didn't get one on the other side, and I can't remember why now, but I know that's true. And I have not been able to chew on this side of my mouth ever since. And I did go back to him and I told him that, and he was like, oh, you just need a little time or whatever. It's been 11 years and I still can't chew on this side of my mouth. It hurts to chew on this side of my mouth in 11 years. Now, do you think he was full of it? I do. So you want to talk about broken trust? And I was able to chew on this side of my mouth just fine for 11 years. And I didn't get a cap. So huge broken trust. Huge broken trust. Now, also in Canada, I took my son. I am not going to go into the details of this one. I'm going to say this. I took my son to a pediatric dentist because he had dental enamel hypoplasia. The dentist recommended pulling his front teeth. I trusted that dentist. and he destroyed my trust. And he hurt my baby. And I have the most severe PTSD over that incident and witnessing that incident. And it ripped a part of my soul. Ripped it. It shredded me. I still, to this day, will have flashbacks of what happened. And I had... Sometimes I still feel like I can't forgive myself for it. But what it comes down to is I put my trust in these people and they destroyed it. And if one dentist is sitting there going around telling every patient they need caps just because he wants to drive a Mercedes, and probably the same with this other, I don't know. You know what? I think a lot of people, and this doesn't apply to all dentists, I'm sure, but I do think a lot of people go into dentistry because they're sadistic and they want to watch people hurt and they want to hurt people. I'm serious. Like, have you ever seen Little Shop of Horrors? I think that's probably not very far off from the truth sometimes. I don't think it's always true, honestly, because I have had experience with compassionate dentists. And when we lived in Portland, through a great mama's group, I was able to find a dentist who was a compassionate dentist, and his father had actually written a book called How to Build, How to Build a Successful, Gentle Dentistry Practice, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but the doctor that we saw is Stephen Pike, and I wish we were still in Portland, because he helped not only my son build trust, but he helped me build trust in him. Anyway, just him. Like him and his team in his office. But as far as dentists go, like, he really helped, because my son did need, a procedure. He needed a lot of work done on his teeth, and I was a PTSD wreck about it, and he really helped calm me and helped my trust issues, and he understood. Sorry. He understood why I had trust issues, and he was incredible. He let me bring my own anesthesiologist in. The anesthesiologist worked with me like extensively because of our sensitivities and because I was so concerned about the anesthesia and what was used and the side effects and all that stuff. And I did a ton of research, and the anesthesiologist and I were texting back and forth constantly to work through that whole thing. And we got everything we needed to do done, and it really helped me so much. But we're not in Portland anymore. I'm sorry. It was even still, it was still traumatic for me then. But he really helped me be able to make it through it. I had such a hard time. When we got back here, okay, I'm skipping over some parts because I descended into chronic illness while we lived in Portland, and I couldn't even think about trying to go to a dentist. The stuff I did for my son was earlier in my illness, before I just couldn't leave the house anymore, and it got to the point where I couldn't leave the house anymore, and so that was years of my life. And then we traveled in the RV for a year, so obviously we didn't try to see a dentist then. And then the snoring you hear is Muffins, my pug, by the way, just in case you're wondering. And then we moved to Wisconsin. We were there for 18 months, and I was really still just kind of focused on healing. And I did try, but we didn't get to find a dentist. So now we're here. We've been here over a year at this point. We've been here about 18 months. And I have been trying to find a dentist. Like, we actually went to one. We went to a guy, again, he was a holistic dentist. And at this point, the reason I would choose a holistic dentist is just because their offices are going to have those air cleaners in them. But, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of procedures they try to tell you need that, or sell you or whatever. And I don't know. Sometimes they can be, they're like, oh, you need this test and you need this and all this stuff. And it's like extras that you don't really need. But his office was clean and I could be in it as a chemically sensitive person. And I thought, okay, we'll try this. But this guy was like, I think a lot of dentists have a lot of heavy metal toxicity from all the materials they work with, and a lot of just toxicity in general. And this guy was like in his routine, and he'd like gave the same lecture every time to every patient about like, oh, how they don't know how to take care of their teeth and they need to take care of their teeth. And I was trying to talk to him and say like, actually my son's teeth look like way better than they used to because he had dental enamel hypoplasia when he was younger, and they have actually, been repaired and they look a lot better. And they're not crumbling like they used to. They used to just crumble. The enamel would just crumble off, and it doesn't do that anymore. And he would not hear me. I repeated him 4 times this information, and he wouldn't. It's like he just kept on going through his lecture like I had never spoken. And then the 4th time he finally kind of acknowledged that I said something, and it was already traumatic for me. Like when we had gone to the office, and even just being in there, it was like a panicky experience for me. And like at one point my son had to use the bathroom before the appointment, and I was just standing outside the bathroom where nobody could see me and crying. I was just crying because I was like just so in such a state of anxiety that we were there. And then this guy wouldn't listen to me, and like I just felt like this is not gonna work because I can't. This guy's got no compassion, and he's just like lecturing my kid. He's never met my kid. He doesn't know my kid. He doesn't know why he chooses to do something. And he was very like shamey and blamey and like, I know everything and you know nothing. And so I couldn't even. And I'm like, if you're not going to communicate with me as a parent about my child's teeth, then that's not going to work. Like you've to understand like our history, and we're very different. And so we did not go back to that dentist. My son didn't like that guy, obviously. I mean, my husband didn't really like him either, but my husband has like a way higher tolerance for bullshit than I do. And I just can't cope with that kind of, like, with as severe a PTSD and anxiety as I have about this stuff. I'm like, I can't. You gotta be at least like a human, okay? You can't just be a robot talking at me. That just added to my PTSD. So we tried to go to this other dentist, and I had another, like, right before we were gonna go, I just had such incredible anxiety and such incredible panic, and I somehow got myself in the car and made myself go anyway. But my husband had to drive because I couldn't have driven a car. I was just like freaking out hard, and just like, so it was like so horrible, honestly. And we got to that dentist office, and I swear I don't think I've experienced this really before, but the whole building just felt like there was just darkness around it, and it was ugh. And then when we went into it, because in the parking lot I was like, oh, this isn't, and my stomach was starting to feel nauseous, and I was just like, I was so in knots, and I was like so freaking out. So my husband's like walking me in, and we get into the building, and it's just like there's no ventilation. It's dark in the building. There's like no light coming in. There's no windows. It's just dark and unventilated, and it stunk, just chemicals. And the elevator was just chemicals. And I was like, I wasn't even in the office yet, and I was just getting to it. And by the time I got to the office, when I walked in the office, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't. It's too much. It's too much. And I left. And as soon as we left and like got back in our car, I was like, I felt already better, but the stress of it was just like, I was still just frazzled. And so again, I got recommendations off of Nextdoor. I told people my situation. I was like, I have severe PTSD. I'm really, but my teeth I like really need, but I need somebody who isn't going to judge, and also somebody who might be able to accommodate someone with chemical sensitivity, because I get really sick around, all these, I listed all the stuff. And anyway, I said the whole thing, and there was somebody who answered, and they said, it was like they got it. They're like, I get PTSD. Like, I have it too, because I have such a terror of dentists. And, they explained their situation, and they recommended this dentist. And I thought, okay, with that kind of a recommendation from someone who like really understands what this is like, I'll try this dentist. I know that people don't really get chemical sensitivity if they don't have it. So I know that's always hit or miss. Call the dentist, make an appointment, try to go. I made an appointment, and then like the agreement was like a couple weeks before the appointment, I would go into the office just to see if I would be able to go to the appointment. So I made the appointment to go in and see what the environment was like, if I would be able to handle it chemically. And the day came that I was supposed to have that appointment to go in, the advance appointment, and I kind of spaced it. And then, so I called and I apologized when I realized what I had done, and I remade the appointment. Even calling was really hard, calling to remake the appointment. And I remade the appointment, and then I spaced that too. I just completely forgot, despite having it on my calendar, despite thinking I was prepared, I just forgot. And when I called again to apologize again and just say, well, okay, I guess I'll just figure it out on the day, the woman, the receptionist or whoever answered the phone, was very terse with me. And I thought, okay, I had told her how much I was struggling. I was told her how hard this was for me. And I don't know, I just felt so fragile. And I felt like, oh, that doesn't feel like compassion. And so the day came for the appointment, the actual appointment, like when I was supposed to have the exam and everything. And I just, that morning I was just like so off, and I just felt like crying all day, and I was just a mess. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And then I realized, I'm like, is this because of this appointment today? And I just, when I was kind of like, oh my gosh. And then I just started having kind of a panic attack. Like first it started kind of as anxiety, and then I was just crying, and then it was like a full-on panic attack, and I was like, and then I just was crying, and I just felt like I couldn't do anything. And I asked my husband, I said, I can't do this. And I had him call. I couldn't even call them. Like, it was that bad. So I had him call, and he called and canceled the appointment. So that dentist was out. A few more months went by. I still had the list of recommendations from the neighbors on Nextdoor, and there's another one who, like, there's a neighbor who, I don't know her in person. I don't know any of my neighbors in person other than who lives directly across the street next door to my in-laws where we're staying. But this one person, she's on Nextdoor a lot. She's in the gardening group that I'm in on Nextdoor. She's always posting stuff about like nature and positive things, and I like her. I like her posts. I feel an affinity for her. And she was one of the people who made a recommendation in that list. And she said, you know what, you can also, I think I messaged her about it, and she said, you can message me. She's like, here's my cell number. You can text me anytime and talk to me about this. And I actually texted her and chatted with her a little bit about it, about my anxiety. And she's like, I totally get it. I have it too. And so we kind of compared PTSD a little bit, not compared, but like shared our experiences. And we commiserated. And then
So that was before the end of the year, and I kept trying to make an appointment with her dentist. I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Meanwhile, the whole time I'm doing the medical medium meditations that he put out on Apple Podcasts. He's got the brain meditation, which is for eradicating fear. He's got the fruit picking meditation, which is for healing PTSD. He's got the moon meditation, which is for emotional healing. He's got the stargazing meditation, which is for reconnecting with our souls. He's got the free as a bird meditation, which is for when you feel sort of caged and you need to feel free, for soul freedom. And so I did all of the meditations, but I kind of gotten to this point where I just was doing the moon meditation every single night. I used to do like the brain meditation in the morning, and sometimes I would do like the moon meditation and the stargazing meditation at night. Sometimes I still do that, but my bedtime kind of got wacky, whatever. Anyway, so I had done all the meditations at some point, and I was doing the moon meditation every single night. Like, it's just become a part of my bedtime routine. I just do it every night, no matter what. And some time went by, and eventually at some point I just thought, I'm just gonna make an appointment with this dentist. And I called, and I was a little nervous when I called. I was nervous, and I told them my whole situation. I was like, this is my PTSD, and I'm really nervous, and I need somebody who's compassionate. I also have this chemical sensitivity and all this stuff. They took it totally seriously, right? They were like, we get it, and we will do our best. And, they asked me questions about it. When I had a question about chemical use in the rooms or whatever, the person who was going to be my dental assistant called me back. She called me back and was like, I heard you have some questions, and what can I answer? And she answered my questions, and then she's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. She's like, my room has never had any scents used in it, other than what we cleaned with, but like no scented candles, nothing like that. She said, I'm gonna make sure that you always get my room, and I'm gonna make sure you have my room and me. She said, don't worry, the dentist doesn't wear any colognes. We don't wear perfumes and colognes, and we're gonna take care of you. And I was like, okay. And I was like, will it be okay if I break down and cry when I'm there? Because I might. And she's like, it's fine. She's like, it's totally fine. We will take care of you. And I was like, okay. And I felt a little better. Nervous still, anxiety still. But there was some part of me that was like, okay, I can do this now. And the day came. Now remember, when I went to dental appointments before, my husband was driving me because I needed the buffer. I could not do it on my own. This time, I drove myself. And I even made the appointment knowing I was going to drive myself, because I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll like do it in the afternoon, and that's when my husband's working, so he wouldn't have been able to drive me, or he would have had to take a half day off of work and lost the pay. And so I was like, yeah, I'll drive. And my husband's like, that's at a time he's like, I don't think I can drive you at that time. And I was like, no, it's okay. I'm going to drive myself. And he was like, okay, really? I was like, yep, I'm going to drive myself. I'm going to do this. And beforehand, I posted on social media and I asked people to pray for me. My friends all knew. My friends that I talked to, they were praying for me, and I talked to all the angels, and I asked them, like, please be with me and help me. I prayed to God. I prayed to everybody. Prayed to the angels, Jesus, God. I was like, please help me through this. Let me, be strong enough to do this. And the day came, and I drove myself to the appointment, and I went into that dentist's office, and they were kind, and they were taking my chemical sensitivity seriously. And she's like, and they were accommodating, and they explained things, and the dentist was nice, and he talked to me and explained stuff. And they were like, if you have any questions, and there was like like a what's she like a coordinator, a care coordinator person, and she commiserated with me about chemical sensitivity. And even when it was time for me to go, they had told all the other assistants, they're like, don't mop or anything while this patient is here, you know, wait till after she leaves. Well, somebody forgot and they mopped in their area, so it's like a strong Lysol smelling cleaner. And they were like, oh my gosh. So what they did was, instead of having me walk by that area, they took me around through their break room around to like the other side of the office, so they didn't even ever have to come in contact with that area. They were so nice. I was like, well, I could just wear my mask. They're like, no, 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 it's really strong. I can smell it through my mask. They're like, we're going to take you this way. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how greatly they took care of me. And I felt so good about it. And then, you know, when the dentist had said, you'll probably need these root canals. And so he had to refer me to an endodontist. And I was like, oh my gosh, a second office. And I was like, I did this, but can I do it again? But I felt so good the day that I did it. I was so happy. The sun was even shining. I felt really good. Everybody was cheerful and friendly and kind. And it was so amazing. And I had such a good experience. I felt so good after I did it. Because A, that was a huge accomplishment, what I just did. B, I did not freak out. I drove myself. I was stunned. I didn't have a panic attack. I didn't break down and cry. I didn't anything. I felt good and excited and like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this taken care of. And I've been waiting so long to get this taken care of. And I can't, you know, like I felt like, yeah, let's do this. Okay, if that's what I need. Like I was not at all surprised when he said root canals. I thought, yeah, that seems right. given the pain and then just how long it's been, and that there was an issue before, and this crown has never not given me an issue. Whew. So then I had the appointment with the endodontist. Now, first of all, I gotta go back. Okay. So then I called because he gave me a few numbers to call. He's like, there's different ones, so call and see like who can get you in the soonest and which one, you know, can accommodate you and stuff. So the first office I called, they were like, oh yeah, we use Sense. I was like, thank you, I can't come in to your office. The second office I called, I was like, that was the first question I asked. I was like, do you use any, you know, scented things? Does the dentist wear, or the endodontist, does he wear colognes? Does anywhere wear perfumes? And they said, nope, we don't use any scents in this office. And I was like, thank you, God. Really? I was so happy. I was like, please get me in. And they got me in quickly, within like a week. So again, I was nervous that day, but I was like, I'm nervous, but I'm like, I'm okay. I felt okay. Again, I drove myself, and that was farther. That one was farther out. I drove myself to the office. Everybody in the office was so nice. And you guys, okay, so I went in thinking I needed 4 root canals, possibly. Okay, because my dentist said, I'm not sure. Let's have him evaluate. He'll tell you. So I go in and I'm thinking definitely 4 root canals. I thought I was going to have one of them that day. Spoiler alert. I didn't have one that day. What happened was, so he looked at all my teeth, he looked at everything, and he looked at the x-rays, and he said, okay, I'm not going to do any root canals. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, but I thought this one. And he's like, there's not enough of the tooth. He said, the decay is too far down. There's not enough of the tooth to build a crown on. And he said, I could do a root canal, but then your dentist would have a heck of a time trying to, he's like, he said they can maybe do it, but he said, but they'd have to like dig down into the gum and into the bone in order to get the crown to stay on. And he's like, it would be not pleasant. And I was like, I do not want that. And he said, yeah, so I think we need to do an extraction on this tooth. And I was like, okay. And then he said, now the other 3 teeth on the other side that you thought maybe needed root canals, none of them do. He said, those just need fillings. They're fine. I mean, like, he's like, they're not fine, but you know, there's just a bit there's decay, but it's not enough to need a root canal. You can just fill those. And he's like, I could do root canals preemptively. He's like, but I'm not going to do that. He was so honest. He just told me the truth. He didn't make a dime off me. Like nothing. I mean, maybe my insurance company paid for the visit, but like, he could have just said, oh yeah, you definitely need root canals. And I totally would have believed it because I already thought that I did. But instead, this angel of an endodontist said, you don't need any root canals. And he said, call your dentist on Monday and get a referral to an oral surgeon, and that's who will do the extraction. I'm like, you can't do it? And he goes, I am not good at those. And he's like, you don't want me to do it. And I was like, but you're great. I really like you. You're awesome. He explained everything to me. It was such a good experience. So as of yet, I have not had any dental work done. However, those two experiences have been so positive. And again, I called in the angels, asked the angels to be there for me. I asked so many angels. I was like, please, I had a team of angels all wrapped around me, walking in with me like, let's do this. Everybody was so nice. His office was great. No sense, no chemical reactions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So now I have to do the surgeon. But I feel so buoyed by what happened with these two visits that I feel like it's going to be okay. And he said, I said, oh no, an extraction will I have to be put under. I said, that's a heavier anesthesia, because he knew about my chemical concerns. And he said, well, no. He said, actually, they can do an extraction with just a local. And I was like, really? And he said, yes. He said they might not want to, but they can. So you can ask for that. And I was like, oh, you're awesome. And I'm like, now I know I can push for it, and I will. Can you believe okay. I entirely have my healing with medical medium information, and in particular the meditations that he has put out on Apple Podcasts to thank for this, because I just told you the story of what happened before and how terrifying it was and how I was paralyzed and having anxiety and panic attacks, and I was just able to go. It's like something had shifted and something had lifted. A lot of something had lifted. Even to the first part of the video. When I made the first part of the video in the other shirt and in the daytime, because it's nighttime now, when I made the first part of the video, that was before I had done any of this. And I was in a place where I was kind of panicky because I was like, what am I going to do? And interestingly, the first part of the video cut off, which is why I had to pick up the story now. It had cut off, and that's why I never posted it. So I lost the second part of what I had filmed, and I was like, oh, what do I do with this? So I just kind of stuck it in a folder, and I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. And then the other day, after all this happened, I was like, I've got to make a video about this. This is profound healing. This is a victory check, man. This is a victory check, because I couldn't go before, and I've done these meditations every day, and now I can go. Like, the healing is real. It was just a couple of months ago, and I could not manage to do it, and now I just can. Thank you, God, thank you, medical medium, thank you, because I have needed this dental work for so long, and it is such a relief. And even though I'm going to have an extraction, and then there's lots of fillings to do, because decay at the gum line, don't ever drink apple cider vinegar, kids. I'm telling you, it is a bad news. It's terrible news. And those high-fat diets and that apple cider vinegar just killed my teeth. But I can get them fixed now, and I'm just so freaking relieved. I just can't even I can't, this is like such a great victory check. And the healing keeps happening. Can you believe it? I've been healing for 4 years, and it's like, yeah, of course, this wasn't the huge priority of all of the things that I needed to heal physically and even emotionally and mentally. But if you have any of the things I mentioned about the meditations, if you have emotional hurts, if you have PTSD, if you have anxiety, if you have that caged feeling of just being trapped, if any of it, please do the medical media meditations from Apple Podcasts and do them every night or every morning, whatever, just every day at some point. Just do them always. Because I am telling you that they have removed so much fear from my soul. They have healed so much emotional pain. They've helped me with other things too. I can't, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna, this video would get too long. But like emotional hurts, like big kind of, that would have been really hard before, helped me just move past it, just get through it. So many things. And it's different each time that I do the meditations. And the beautiful thing about these meditations is they are not man-made like every other meditation out there. They are not man-made. They come from above, just like all of his information. They come from above. They are given to him by Spirit of Compassion, which means we don't really have to do anything. If our mind wanders, it still works. If we fall asleep, it still works. If we can't focus, it still works. If we open our eyes in the meditation, it still works. It still works. Because he put it this way, he said he's doing the work for us. I don't entirely know exactly what that means, but I know that it works because there are so many times when I'll be doing it, my mind will just go somewhere else, or the animals will interrupt me, and I'm, because they always come in when I'm doing the meditation, like always. They always come in and join me and meditate with me, but they're disruptive when they do it. So it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because it still works. It still works. It still works. How perfect that the video cut off, that I didn't post it when I filmed it. How perfect that now I can film the second part of the video and say, this is a victory check video, actually. This is actually a victory check video, not a, this is a one situation I'm stuck in video like it was when I first made it. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. You guys, the medical medium information, it works. Oh, I'm so grateful. I cannot believe it. I can, but I can't. I'm just like, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. You have no idea. I kept trying, and I was trying to push myself to go. I was trying so hard, and I couldn't do it. And I just have been able to. Sorry, I'm getting a little moved to tears in a good way. But it's just like it just opened up. Everything just felt so right and good, and like I was so taken care of. And that's the amazing thing about the medical medium tools and information. It's not just about physical healing and healing our bodies. We are healing our souls, and deep, deep wounds have healed. Deep ones. So many other ones too. But this one, seriously, this is a miracle. This is a miracle that I have been able to do this. I cannot even tell you. I am telling you. I'm telling you right now. I am so grateful. So grateful. Oh my gosh. So there is more work to do. I know I have to have this extraction, and I'm going to get some fillings, but I am getting my teeth fixed. Getting them fixed. I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy. So what I was going to say about the tools is that, so in the first book, which remember he's doing the revised edition and expanding even more, he's going to even tell us even more healing angels. But there, in the first book, there is healing angels, angels to help us with our healing. And in the second book, the Life-Changing Foods book, he does more angels to help us with our healing. And he's introduced a couple here and there in other books as well, like Liver Rescue, I know, and maybe even thyroid healing. But he's expanding the information in this new book that's coming out. So the meditations, he had a bunch of meditations in the first book. He's had meditations in every book. Bunches of them in the first book. All these angels. And over the years, I have learned to use these tools. And I am telling you, nothing beats the feeling of having a whole posse of angels with you when you're going to, I was like, this is why I knew I could drive myself, because I knew I wasn't going to be alone. I used to think I was alone in the universe. I thought it was me and there was nobody. I thought I was just on my own, and for so much of my life I was miserable because I thought that. That's why I would look to other people to fill that feeling of aloneness, goes kind of beyond loneliness. It's like just I'm alone. But since using the medical medium information, building that trust, building that faith, using the tools, using the meditations, using the angels, asking them for help all the time, that feeling's gone. I just know that I'm not alone. I know that I'm loved and cared for and taken care of, and I know that I matter, and I know that if I need help, I can ask the angels. And that's such an incredible, amazing feeling, because I just knew, I'm like, I'm okay. I've got the angels with me. I don't need my husband to drive me, because I'm gonna be looked after. And boy, was I looked after. In a way, I felt like I have never been looked after in that way by, like, for sure not a dentist, like that was amazing. Other than Dr. Pike for my son, but that was for my son. And I still had a lot of trauma even with that. Have you guys had an experience like this? Have you had healing like this? Have you been doing the meditations? I want to know. Oh man. Now I sound all like I've been crying because I have. But I had to share the rest of that with you because it's amazing. And I'm sure that in the future I'll be talking about the rest of it. Oh, and the other thing too that I've been doing around it is that from a food perspective is cleansing, making sure that after the x-rays that I do a cleanse. And in the first book, there is a recipe for anti-radiation tea. So I'm waiting for Whole Foods to get some dandelion greens in stock so I know they'll be clean. So I can make that anti-radiation tea. I've made it with the other ingredients, but there's seaweed in it and it does not taste good, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine that it doesn't taste good, but I want to do all the ingredients because I know there's a reason for each one of them. And I will, and then I will drink it every night for, I don't know how long, a long period of time, because x-rays are a lot. Anyway, thank you, my healers and health seekers, for sharing this experience with me. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give a thumbs up below. You can subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button over there or ding the bell next to it if you want to be notified when I post new videos. I love you. Remember to stay curious. Do those meditations. I'm telling you. Remember that you can heal. I will see you next time. Bye.